thank you for approaching Armour as one of the publisher, and we are glad and we want to congratulate you that the series will be out sometime in mid-January.
I think I named this series Joyful Readers because I personally feel that the kids must enjoy what they do. Once they enjoy whatever that they're doing, they will pay attention, and you will notice that they're more motivated. So that's the reason why I named this series Joyful Readers. I really hope that the children can, I hope to instill the joy for reading. I think the joy is very important. I've been tutoring kids, and I've been tutoring primary school kids as well as preschool children. So maybe sometime about 8 years back, I started working with children who were performing very badly in school. In fact, they were failing as early as primary 1. And I actually took some time to teach them, and I realized they had a common problem, and that is they couldn't read, or they had very poor reading skills. And I tested them, and I realized that was actually the main hindrance. They were very bright children. They were able to understand, pick up concepts easily, but the main hindrance was the inability to read. So that began my journey on working on a reading program whereby phonics as well as the whole language approach will be used hand in hand so that the children will get the best of two worlds. First, they will be exposed to the phonics program, which starts with very basic words like cat, bat, and that's how they actually pick up reading using the phonics approach. So they are able to put the sounds together and get words, and at the same time, they also be exposed to a lot of sight words. And once the child is competent, able to sound the words, the child is ready to move on to the next level, whereby he is able to use the whole language approach to be able to figure out the words just by putting the sounds together. And I realized that after putting the kids through this entire program, it works perfectly well. And after that, their grades started to improve. And in fact, they went on to achieve grade improvement awards, etc. I think reading is a very important part of a child's life because the ability to read will also affect your performance in school. Because in all your subjects like maths, science, you need to understand the questions. So it's very important to have a very strong foundation of the English language. Therefore, it starts with reading. So once the child is able to read well, it makes it very easy. So going to school becomes a breeze. It's no longer stressful. It's no longer frustrating for the child as well as the parent. Well, basically, I realized that children actually, they need repetition. They learn through repetition and practice as well. Because it's important that whatever sounds that you've learned, you must be able to apply appropriately. So I would have a set of a program that goes hand in hand with the readers. So whatever words the child has learned, the child will be able to sound them out in the readers and understand what they're reading. Because it's not enough just to be able to read. You must understand what you're reading. So it's very, very important, and develop an interest in reading. So for level 1, I'm dealing with that. So we have a set of a program that goes hand in hand with the readers. So whatever words the child has learned, he or she will put into practice through the readers. And that gives them more exposure. And besides, we also have an activity page at the back of the book, which allows the child to practice a little bit more, apply what he or she has learned, and also to practice the words with the help of the word list too. Because through practice and repetition, children learn. That's how they really learn. Because it's not enough just to know the sound. It's important for you to be able to apply. So application skills will be very, very important. And throughout level 1, the words the child has learned in book 1, they'll see in book 2 again, book 3 again. So it helps them to remember whatever they've learned and also to apply them appropriately. So level 1, once the child is ready, then they move on to level 2 where they have 4-letter words, 5-letter words, where small sight words will be introduced and hand in hand with the worksheets to go along with it. And finally, at level 3, they'll be exposed to the whole language approach together with phonics. So that's where the child really learns, you need two, both phonics as well as the whole language approach to make it, to ensure the child reads well. Basically, they are meant for, ideally, preschoolers from 3 years and above. Even for children at about 6 years of age, if they are not able to read well, then they should go back right to the very basic and pick up reading, because otherwise they will encounter a lot of difficulties along the way, and studying becomes very frustrating after a while because it takes a while to read, to understand, and that's how children lose interest. They don't enjoy studying, etc. So it's important to make studying easy, and at the same time the child must enjoy whatever he or she is doing. I'm looking for kids who cannot perform and help them to do better. You see, because they deserve this chance, yeah. Otherwise, can you imagine failing at P1, P2 as what I shared with you? 5 upon 40, very bad, Very bad. He couldn't add, he couldn't subtract. Currently, I'm teaching some children from the learning support group in school, and I discovered that the main reason why these kids are in the program is they are unable to read. So if they are taught the basic foundation of reading from the phonics approach and eventually the whole language approach, you'll discover that the children will show improvement, great improvement in their results in the long term. In fact, I've worked with many kids who actually were from the learning support group, and now they no longer have to go for the learning support group because they've picked up reading. And in fact, a few of them actually won awards for best improvement made within the year itself. So reading itself is very important. So I encourage parents or teachers to teach the children right from the very beginning phonics, and it really helps. You'll see the results. I think for dyslexic kids, they need to actually be exposed to phonics, and they need a lot of reinforcements. So if they're able to make use of very simple material like joyful readers, you'll discover that they learn through repetition, you see, and because they need a longer time to pick up reading. So something very simple, something very fundamental will really be very helpful. And in fact, I've worked with kids with such learning disabilities, and with more, I would say with more support, you discover that they're able to do well in school. I think it's important that teachers work with the kids and realize that every child is different. We need to adjust and be prepared, to look at the different learning patterns of every child. Children learn differently. Some they need a lot of reinforcements. Some, they can just remember so easily. So if the child is able to pick up very quickly, I'd encourage the teacher to move on to the next level. But if the child is struggling, then it'd be better if the teacher slows down and just work with the child. Spend more time, perhaps encouraging the child. And if the child has very short attention span, maybe perhaps spend about 20 minutes today, maybe go for 30 minutes the next time, bit by bit. But not to scream and shout at them and scold them. I think it really doesn't help. I think it's important for the teachers to pay attention to the needs of the children. Every child learns differently. Some kids, they need a lot of reinforcement. So I think what the teacher should focus on is the learning abilities of the child, learning patterns. Like some children, because they come from Chinese-speaking homes or homes where they are not exposed to the English language. So it's important for the teacher to repeat. Maybe before he starts on a new sound or before she starts on a new sound, go back to what the child learned in the past, maybe 1 week ago. So that helps to reinforce. When they purchase this set of books, what happens is that they can practice with the children and at the same time bond with the kids, spend time with them, and also to help them to practice, because the more exposure the child gets, the more familiar the child will get with the words, and after a while it becomes very easy and they will understand and develop liking, not like feel that reading is such a chore, I don't like reading, I don't like studying, etc. So it's important to develop that. And I think that parents must encourage the children, they must praise their kids and not focus so much on how thick the book is. I want my child to be able to read enveloped enlightened books. I mean, these good books are excellent books. But the important thing is to derive joy, and we start with very simple things, very, very simple basic things. And once we're able to build a strong foundation and a joy, okay, a love for reading, I think that's very crucial, and we're starting it right with the kids.
Very good. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your time.
Thank you so much.